Hi, beautiful people. It says I'm live, but it just cut out, so I am actually hoping that I am live. If you would like to say hi, I would love to hear from you. If you have anything that you would like me to speak to you about during this live conversation. Today we are talking about how to quiet your mind, which is incredibly hard for most of us. And I'll tell you a few personal stories of things that happened to me quite a while ago, which really shocked me into needing to create this space in my mind, and also things that have happened to me very recently. Yesterday I had a very interesting conversation with a friend, and I'd like to share all of these experiences with you because I really believe that we all go through very, very similar circumstances in our lives. It happens all the time that we can become very overwhelmed with our stress. We can become very overwhelmed with our busy lives, and the actual living tends to take a back seat. And then we get to the end of the year and we think, wow, what happened this year? Where was I? And often we're so stuck in our minds and all the chatter and the negative thoughts and the worry and the what if this and the what if that, all of that kind of stuff takes up so much space in our minds. And it really is quite useless. It's quite useless for our minds. It can create anxiety, it can create depression, it can create stress. The way the brain works is that once we think about something, our bodies think that it's happening in real life. So if we think about being attacked by a scary animal, our flight, fight, freeze response in our bodies will actually happen. And the reason why I use the example of being attacked by a hairy animal or a non-hairy animal or whatever is because that is what used to happen. We used to have to protect our bodies from animals, and we used to have to run away or hide or fight them. So we still have those very ancient hormones in our bodies, and once we start thinking about stressful situations, the hormone called the cortisol hormone really comes out, and it can affect our bodies in a multitude of ways, and usually in not very good ways. The very obvious situations that happen is we get sweaty palms of our hands, our heartbeat starts to quicken, we feel jumpy and edgy because we're getting all of these hormones running through our bodies, getting ready to run or ready to fight or ready to freeze and hide. And so our minds actually think that this is really happening in real life, even though it's only going on in our minds. So what we need to really make sure is to know what's going on in our minds. And this can be quite challenging because our minds are incredibly clever. We don't know too much about our brains these days. We are starting to learn a lot more. And it's actually quite fascinating. I love learning about how the brain works. It was one of my favourite topics when I was at university, and it still is now. I'm absolutely fascinated with it, and helping people learn how to discover how to train their minds and how to do it. So the conversation that I was having yesterday with a friend is she's just started going out with another fella. And she was saying to me, I am having all these arguments in my head with him. And I delved a little bit more and I said, well, what do you mean? She said, I know he's had previous partners and I can't get that out of my head. I just keep going over and over and over this all over my head, and it's making me uncomfortable in our relationship. And I said, so have you spoken to him about it? And she said, yeah, but it's in the past for him. He doesn't think about it. And I said, well, it's you then. And she said, yes, it is. And she said, but I can't stop it. I can't stop it. I can't stop it. And it made me remember a time when I thought I couldn't stop it either. It made me remember a time, let me really think about this. My daughter is 11. She would have been 2, so 9 years ago. I was outside and I was hanging out the washing, and I was having a huge argument. I was saying this, the other person was saying this, I was saying this back, the other person was saying this back, I was saying this back, the other person was saying this back. It was getting more and more and more. It was getting so heated, but the other person wasn't there. It was all in my head. And I was getting myself so worked up that I was clenching my jaw and I was frowning and I was getting so worked up. I could feel my blood pressure rising. I could feel all these things happening in my body. I could feel my stomach contracting, which is it happens when I get really, really stressed. And it was all me. It was all me that was creating this angst and this horrible feeling in my own body. And I stopped hanging out the washing, and I looked at my daughter, and I can't remember what she was actually doing, but it brought me to tears. She was doing something, like 2-year-olds do. She was so gorgeous. She was so engrossed with, a rock or mud or her blankie or something, just one of those beautiful special moments that we all know as mums that we miss when we're so in our heads. And that made me stop. That made me absolutely, that was my turning point of I have to figure out how to manage my thoughts so I don't miss all of these beautiful moments of being a parent. Because I could have easily continued hanging out the washing and continued having a really, really massive argument with this person inside my head, and I could have stomped into the house and I could have put down the washing basket and got all angry, and I probably could have phoned this person and they would have gone, what are you talking about? And I would have gone, rah, 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 because I've already had this massive argument in my head with them. And I would have missed my daughter. I would have missed everything that she was doing. So that was my moment. That was my moment in time to say, it's up to you, Victoria. It's up to you to make this change in your life. Nobody else is going to be able to get inside your head. You're the only person who can get inside your head. And I stopped and I went and I played with my daughter. And I just, those moments are so precious. And if we don't get out of our heads, we can miss so many of these moments. And that's what being mindful is. You'll hear it bandied about a lot these days. There's a lot of information coming out these days, but the crux, like the basis of being mindful is being in the present moment. So people talk about mindful meditation. The way we practice being mindful is during meditation, and then we can become mindful throughout our whole entire lives. So it's a really beautiful way to practice it practice mindfulness in a calm situation, like in a meditation, and then take it into every different part of your life. So the way that this builds into the topic that we're talking about today is stopping that negative chatter in your mind, is because most of the time the negative chatter in our mind isn't in the present moment. It isn't about what's happening now, and it isn't about being mindful in the present moment. It's actually quite useless thoughts. It's thoughts about the past, about what could have happened, or I should have said that, or they said that to me, and then you get all angry about it. Or it's thoughts about the future moments. What if I do this? What if this happens at this meeting? What if I'm late to that? What if I fail at that? So they're very anxious thoughts. They're thoughts into the future. And again, they haven't happened. They are negative, useless thoughts in our minds. And we all have them. That's, we can't say that we're never going to have these thoughts again, because, it's good, it's okay. We do need to plan into the future, and we do need to think about the past so that we can improve our lives now and learn from our lessons. But if we get stuck in those past or future, then we're missing everything that happens now. And now is very, very important. Now is what's happening. The past has already happened. The future may change, but now is what's happening. And this is where our memories are formed. This is where the special times, the sparks, the gems in our lives are formed. And these are where the special memories come from the present moment. We don't ever have special memories from when we're thinking about the past. We don't ever have special memories from when we're worrying about the future. The present moment is where we get those beautiful special memories that can really help us when we're going through stressful times in our lives. So what I'm going to give you today is 2 ways to bring yourself into the present moment and to try and stop those negative thoughts going around and around and around in your head. I'm going to give you 1 way to do during the day, and I'm going to give you 1 that you can do at night time. Because when we're during the day, we can't often stop and do a 5 to 10 minute meditation. We might be driving the car, or we might be making lunches, or we might be at work. We can't stop for that period of time. So I'm going to give you 1 really quick way to stop when we're in our daylight hours. And then I'd really like to give you the one for the night time, because sleep is so incredibly important for you. The whole body, the mind, everything rejuvenates. Your memories go into your long-term memory bank during your sleep. Your sleep is so important. And if you have those negative thoughts going around and around and around in your mind, you're not going to get the quality sleep that you need. So today, I'm going to give you a daytime one, and I'm going to give you a nighttime one. The nighttime one's going to be longer, and I'll send you a link actually to a download that you can use at nighttime as well. Okay, so the first one that we need to understand is that our thoughts are just thoughts. They're just words going around and around in our minds. We can control them. We can stop them. If you choose to stop them, you can. If you say to yourself, I can't stop my thoughts, I can't stop my thoughts, I'm sorry, I can't do anything for you. You need to decide you need to change. So if you'd like to change and you'd like to stop those negative thoughts, 1 really quick and easy way to do is to stop and recognize you're having those thoughts. Look around for 5 things. 5 things that are in the present moment right now. It will bring you back into the present moment, and it will stop you having those thoughts going around and around. And once you've thought about those 5 things, once you've seen those 5 things, You can then choose whether you want to continue that conversation in your head or not. You can choose to have another conversation in your head. You might choose to put some music on. You might choose to do a breathing technique. So it's your choice. So if I'm here and my thoughts are going away, as they often do, I know you'll know this situation when you're driving, and you're thinking so much, you think, oh my gosh, where am I? Did I pass my turn off? Where am I? So I know we've all been in that situation. So if we are stuck in our minds in the car, we can just sit there and we can think of 5 things around us to bring us, look at 5 things around us that bring us back into the present moment. So if I'm here and I'm sitting here talking to you and my mind goes off, I'll sit here and I'll say phone, window, painting, kitchen, light. So they're right here, 5 things, and it just stops. It brings the thought patterns into a different part of the mind, and it stops those repetitive thoughts. So that's a really, really easy tip for you to do. 5 things. And then I really encourage you to do a breathing technique, because sometimes when we're working ourselves up, we can raise our blood pressure, we can raise our heart rate. A breathing technique will bring all of that down again. It will relax us. And I've got over 100 videos on YouTube at the moment, so hopefully you'll be able to find one that suits you. Now the other one that I was going to teach you is the past, present, future meditation. And again, I'll put a link to this at the end. So this is a meditation that I've taught to hundreds of people, and it seems to work really, really well for people. It's one of the ones that people ask me to teach them again and again and again. So the past, present, and the future meditation. So we're thinking about the thoughts from the past, thoughts that have already happened, thoughts that are memories, and it could be thoughts that have happened a minute ago or 20 years ago. Present moment thoughts are the things that are happening right now. I can feel the shirt on my skin. I can feel my bottom sitting on the chair. I can feel the sound of my voice. I can feel the vibrations. So the present moment thoughts are right now. The future thoughts are the things that are going to happen or may not happen in the future. Often those anxious thoughts. What if this happens? What if this, I'm thinking of all these terrible things in my mind and I'm trying not to say them actually. What if there's a diagnosis? What if this happens to my child? What if they fail? What am I going to do? What can I do to help? All of those thoughts that sometimes can be really, really useless thoughts. We do need to plan. I do get that. We can't live in the present moment all the time. We do need to plan, especially if we're cooking, that kind of thing. We need to plan our day sometimes as well, but we don't need to live there. We can live here. Okay? So I'm going to give you this past, present, future meditation. It's going to be a little bit long, so I encourage you to find a little bit long, about 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. I'm going to encourage you to have a nice, comfortable position that you can be in. If you are listening to this recorded, you might like to stop, you might like to get a blanket, or you might like to put earphones on so you can tune out everything else, and then you can really relax. Okay, so if you need to, press pause now. So let's get started into the past, present, future meditation. So if you'd like to take a comfortable position and just listening to your breath for a few moments, feeling the breath coming in and out of the nose. Feeling if the breath has a different temperature from the inhale and the exhale. And just acknowledging any sounds that you can hear outside of the room. And acknowledging any sounds that you can hear inside of the room. Taking a scan of your body and seeing if you can relax any part of your body so that we can focus on the mind and not the body. Bringing your awareness to your toes, to your feet, ankles, the lower legs, the knees, the upper legs, to the hips, the pelvis, to the belly, the waist, the lower back, the chest, the sides of the body, to the upper back, shoulders, upper arms, elbows, lower arms, wrists, the backs of the hands, the palms of the hands, the fingers and thumbs. Drawing your awareness to your neck, jaw, teeth, the lips, the cheeks, the eyes, the muscles around the eyes, the forehead, the eyebrows, in between the eyebrows, the whole of the scalp, the whole of the head, the whole of the torso, both arms, both legs, and bringing your awareness back to your breathing. Bringing your inner gaze just behind the eyebrows, in the middle of the eyebrows. I'd like you to imagine before you 3 boxes. The box on the left is for your past thoughts. The box in the middle are for your present moment thoughts. The box on the right is for your future thoughts. If you have lids on your boxes, taking the lids off. Now sitting back and watching what's happening in your mind, as though you're watching a movie. And as thoughts come into your mind, take them off the movie screen and place them in the boxes. The thoughts from the past go in the past box. The thoughts into the present moment go into the present moment box. And the thoughts from the future go into the future box. I'll just give you a few moments to watch those thoughts. Bringing your awareness back to your breathing. If you you feel like you need to take some of the thoughts out of the boxes before we close the lid, now is your time. And now start putting the lids back on the boxes if they were there before. Starting to feel where you've placed your feet on the ground, how you're sitting or lying. Starting to notice the sounds inside the room. And noticing the sounds outside of the room. And gently opening your eyes. You might like to have a little stretch. You might like to take a few deeper breaths. The reason why I say you might like to take some of the thoughts out of the boxes is because not all of our past or present or future thoughts are bad thoughts. We can have thoughts of beautiful memories that we can bring up in our present moment and make us smile and relive those beautiful times. So not all of the thoughts need to stay in the boxes, but the joy of living mindfully is having the choice about which thoughts you have in your mind. On the 22nd of October, I'm starting our next 5-week How to Create a Relaxed Home. This mindfulness practice is a very, very small part of that course, but I wanted to share it with you because it was one of the, like I said at the beginning of the session, it was one of those moments that really, really stuck with me in my life. One of those turning points in our lives where I said, I'm not enjoying my life. I'm not enjoying these beautiful people I have around me. And it's my fault. It's no one else's. This is my choice to change. And that's when I did start researching for hours and hours and learning and growing and changing and making that change to create a relaxed home. It did take me years, and I'm still learning. I don't think we ever stop learning. I'm still tweaking things, but what I've done is I've tried to squish it all the goodness, all the best bits into this 5-week course. So I hope you can join me. I know that it has changed my life dramatically. It's changed my health. It's changed the way that I interact with my family. It's changed my mind so much for the better. Absolutely for the better. I don't react so much anymore. No, I don't react at all anymore. I choose if I want to be angry. I don't let my emotions overcome me anymore. And that is huge. It wasn't always like that, trust me. So I'd really like to help you if I can. Let me know. And I hope you enjoyed that little meditation and our time together today. Mwah. Have a beautiful morning or afternoon or night if this is where you're watching. I'll put all the links for that meditation in the comments, and I'll put the links for the 5-week program in the comments too. I'll see you again. Bye.